Hi, Matt Dixon with Purple Patch Fitness here, and we're here today joined with Paul Buick, our Purple Patch cycling coach and technician, and we want to spend a few minutes today talking about the virtual bike fit, which is a little bit of a novel service but really designed to help people that are limited geographically to Purple Patch but can really gain much out of the attention and the eyes of the cycling guru Paul Buick on their bike fit, their posture, and how they actually interact with their bicycle. So Paul, why don't you give us the first thing, give us a brief overview of really the process of the virtual bike fit and what the athletes are going to go through and experience.
The process starts with gathering some information. Firstly, we send out the fitting protocol with a little guide of how to measure your bicycle, and that generates the basic numbers. Then the athlete makes a video basically on the indoor trainer where we can see them moving on their bicycle, and then we want to see some photos of them actually racing their bike outside or riding their bike outside, because often there's a difference between the fitted position and the actual position that an athlete interacts with their bike. After that, there's often, and more likely than not, there's going to be an initial consultation for a few minutes to say we're going to make some bold changes here, here and here before we settle into the process. After that, then we're going to get online and go through the process. And the process is not just about generating numbers.
And I think that's the important thing, is that many people think of bike fit as going into your local bike shop or studio and getting a fit with a fancy machine or a great technician, getting the numbers, leaving the shop and thinking the process is finished. But really, as athletes will begin to understand and learn, it's actually much more than that. The fit is really only the starting point. So why don't you talk to that a little bit?
There's yeah, that's the thing. The numbers are a really good place to start, and but during this process, it's the information of how you interact with your bike once you've got a base position that's really, really important, because this is the foundation you're going to build, cycling success from. And so the numbers, it's important to have a good starting point, but the information of position, posture, pedaling, that very basic interaction with your bicycle, that's the most important thing that happens during the process.
And when we think about that, even with our pro athletes that we work with, and you work with all of the Purple Patch pros, we always talk about the centerpiece of every technique almost being not whether the bike position is correct, but actually what their posture is like on the bike. So almost just to get into the ballroom, to get onto the dance floor, the position has to be adequate, but the most important thing is actually how they're sitting on the bike.
Oh, that's key. It's the foundation of cycling performance is good posture. Not only for economy and effort production, if you like, but every other interaction with your bicycle, the standing interactions with your bicycle, cornering, descending, all those things. The foundation is good posture.
Start with posture. And that's the retention of being able to retain good posture and good pedaling through basically every interaction with your bike. And even with our pro athletes, we come back to this time and time and time again. And they, of course, have great bike fits, but we're constantly looking for them to evolve and work on their posture and how they work with their bike. And so much of that starts with education. Unless you know how to retain posture and how to pedal your bike properly, which sounds very basic, but it's really the place of the biggest incremental gains in performance.
Oh, that's right. And if people are lucky, they get a good information when they start their cycling, but often what happens is once an athlete starts on the process, there's so many distractions, other things, power meters, aerodynamic aids and so on, and stuff that's commercially available. All those things are really, really good to have if you can have them, but often people lose sight of the foundational skills, and we only get to pick them up again later. And like I say, with our pro athletes, sometimes they've spent 5 years being successful athletes, and then they realise that the biggest gains that are yet to be made are getting the basics right.
Diving into that a little bit, if we think about what can athletes expect to come away with this, the first thing is obviously checking that their numbers are within the range, are accurate. So there is a fit element to it. But would you say that beyond that, it's obviously a wider scope, and what we're really looking at is interaction with the bicycle and actually how to sort of pedal your bike. Can you talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, it's an interesting part of the process, because often we end up making quite bold adjustments, And one of the reasons we make bold adjustments so people can feel where they were and where they need to go. And because of the postural awareness and the interactions with your bicycle that are incorporated into the process, once we see somebody moving, we can say this is how you're going to feel as you adapt to this optimal situation. But as you say, the most important part of this process is it starts getting people thinking that the numbers aren't the most important thing, it's how you interact with your bicycle, because this is the platform for improved performance.
So an athlete's going to get involved in this, they're going to go forward with the session. So if we can make it really crystal clear, what are the 3 things that you think they're going to walk away with by going through something like this?
We'll end up with a really good base setting for the position on the bicycle. We will end up covering a lot of how you interact with your bicycle as far as your pedaling interactions. And most importantly, we will have a really good postural base to start off. And this is the foundation of all, future cycling performance.
So it's really just a total immersion of, yes, the position's right, but ultimately what you're going to come away with is the knowledge and the understanding of how to create and maintain great posture, and then of course pedal the bike efficiently. So it's really the platform of knowledge that you need to be a more successful triathlete rider.
Absolutely.
So there it is. It's really a consultation of immersion, of complete education. And so yes, you will come away in an optimal place, but more than that, you're going to come away with the knowledge and power to go and implement the tools outside. So a fantastic session and certainly something not to be missed. Cheers. Thanks, Paul.